Hello, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon. Thank you very much for making the time to join us today. We're really looking forward to talking to you about how you can be a leader in investments and tell you a little bit more about DWS and the array of opportunities that there are here, and hopefully encourage some of you to make some applications to our programs. So the format for today is that I'm joined by a few colleagues here. My name is Caroline Beaton and I work within the early careers space, and I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about an introduction, very high introduction around DWS, and then a little bit about our application process and the programs that are available. And then I'm going to pass to my colleague Sonia, who's going to talk to you a little bit more about our investment business. And then if there are any questions there, we can break for questions. Otherwise, then we'll introduce the rest of the colleagues who can tell you a little bit more about themselves and their path within DWS, and then obviously open to more questions. So we would really encourage questions. We'll be moderating them as we go through, so feel free to pop them in at any time. So thank you very much. And with that, we'll move on to first slide. So as I said, I'll give you a short introduction into DWS, and then we'll lead through into the application process. So, I mean, DWS in a nutshell, so with over 60 years of experience and 896 billion euros in assets under management, is a global leader in the asset management world. We offer a wide range of investment solutions tailored to meet the diverse needs of individuals and institutions worldwide. So from traditional to alternative investments, we leverage our expertise across all major asset classes to deliver superior results. So our commitment to innovation and sustainability, combined with our global expertise and local presence, enables our team of approximately 4,300 employees to deliver exceptional results and help our clients achieve their financial goals. So now let's turn our attention to the opportunities available for young talents like yourselves within DWS. So we have two programs here. So for our internship program, you must be in your penultimate or last year of study, or on a gap year in between your bachelor's or master's degrees, and you must have less than 1 year full-time work experience. Our graduate program, conversely, is a 24-month long program, and it has tailored trainings and 4 rotations, each 6 months long. So the program always starts in September. And if you'd like to know more details, then you can visit our Early Careers website, and you can screenshot the QR codes that you see on screen just now. So I'll pause for just a minute in case any of you would like to take those scans right now. And then we'll take a look at the application process. Okay, happy to come back to this page at any point if anybody would like to, so no problem at all. So, application process, how can you prepare and make your applications stand out? After your online application, you will have an online reasoning test await you, and then an online interview will follow, and then the last stage is a final interview, super day or assessment centre. But let's have a closer look at each of these stages and tell you a little bit more about them. So first of all, your application. So what you want to think about here is, who are you? How can I make sure, how can you make sure that your application stands out? Some tips are, when it comes to your application, it's really crucial to tailor it specifically for DWS and the program you're applying for. We appreciate that you're applying to maybe more than one program, but you must try and avoid some generic content and generic phrasing. So ensure there are no typos or errors, because these can very much detract from the content of your application. Make sure to highlight your education, skills, relevant experiences, making sure to specify your graduation dates, point out any particular coursework or projects and activities that help showcase your capabilities. And additionally, do try and show your motivation by aligning DWS's mission and values and demonstrating your understanding of the role that you're applying to, and show how you're conducting thorough research on DWS and industry changes. It's about making sure that you can marry up those two pieces together. But do make sure that you're genuine, reflective in your answers. It's all about showcasing your interest in joining our team. If you are considering reapplying for a role, as you'll see down here at the bottom of the slide there, you do take time to reflect on any previous feedback you've had from whatever stage you made it through the process. If it's been at least 12 months since your last interview and the role is still open, then you are very welcome to apply again or even explore other alternative open positions within DWS. So if we then move on to take a look at the online assessment and the video interview. So how can you best prepare for these? So the key thing is to tailor your answers directly to the interview questions. So you want to make sure that they're relevant and engaging. And we very much recommend using the STAR method, which would be situation, task, action, result. And if you add another R, then that's the R for reflection. And this helps for comprehensive responses. You know, you're pointing out your individual contributions and actions. Make sure that you research DWS, including, again, our values, mission, vision, as well as any competitors or industry challenges. You know, it's all about demonstrating your alignment between your personal attributes and aspirations with DWS's values and objectives. You know, that's really what is key. If you do require any reasonable adjustment accommodations during the application process or even while you're working, then please contact the email address that you see here on screen, so dwsrecruitment@groupgti.com for confidential assistance. So DWS is very much committed to fostering a diverse and inclusive workplace, so you can liaise with us in confidence about any adjustments that you may need. We then move on to then your final interview or assessment centre, and this will depend on which programme you have applied to. And what can you expect? Well, if you have applied to our internship positions, then the final day is an interview super day. And during the final interview, you can expect to have an engaging interaction with 2 DWS assessors, and the interviews may be conducted in either English or German. You know, it depends on the role and location to which you've applied. The assessment centres, moreover, are half-day events that are tailored for our graduate programmes. So they are designed to, again, identify talent that is aligned with our values. So the activities within an assessment centre are group problem solving and analytical tasks, one-to-one interviews and analytical exercises, all providing a comprehensive evaluation of your skills and attributes and suitability for the roles. And all of these are conducted via Microsoft Teams with clear instructions and technical support on hand both before and during the day to ensure a smooth experience. And then finally, after completing this final step, be that an interview day or an assessment centre, you can expect feedback within 2 weeks. So in case you would like to read through some more detail about the hints and tips, then please do visit our early careers website. But I know that I'm sure you're much more excited to hear from the business experts themselves, my colleagues. So with that in mind, I'm now going to hand over to Sonia. There you go, Sonia.
Yes, thank you, Caroline, and welcome from my side as well. My name is Sonia Werner, and I've been with DWS for 12 years now, and I'm therefore claiming to have a fairly good understanding of the company and, of course, the investment division in particular. So I would love to give you a brief overview. So DWS, and we've already heard this from Caroline, this actually shows that we have $1 trillion of assets under management, because this is in dollars, while Caroline was mentioning the euro numbers. But in any case, it's quite a lot, I would say, and obviously the value fluctuates a bit, or actually heavily, with markets, but roughly 60% of our assets under management are actively managed funds, 28% are passively managed funds and mandates, and 12% are in alternative asset classes. And it is a huge range of capabilities. Caroline mentioned we have two other colleagues here with us who are going to present their own stories. So that's Mikey and Aditi. And just to provide an example of where they sit in within these capabilities, Aditi is part of the real estate portfolio management team, so that would be on the top right in the alternatives bucket, whereas Mikey is part of the financial fixed income solutions team, and so that manages portfolios that are investing in various fixed income asset classes, but on the active side, so top left. And in addition to what you see here, we're actually evaluating new opportunities continuously. So this slide, for example, does not show the private credit as an asset class on the alternatives page, because we've only just hired a new team there. And because we want to expand our capabilities in this area and also take advantage of the gap that banks have left in the market, because they've been more cautious recently with increased interest rates and some different developments in markets. They've been a lot more cautious in their lending activities, and so that's a good opportunity for us to go into, and which is why we've expanded and we're hiring even more people in the private credit space. Then on the passive side, we just launched a range of thematic ETFs so that investors can take advantage of opportunities arising from trends such as the quest to lower carbon emissions, but also the contest between China and the US for technological leadership. So there have been some new areas in the passive as well. And of course, we're also having lots of different initiatives to create active ETFs. So that's a collaboration between active and passive. So, and that just goes to show, of course, that we do have strong capabilities in the established asset classes like equity and fixed income or real estate, but we are also flexible to respond to and enter into emerging areas. And I think that's something that is very interesting to know for people potentially like thinking about joining us, because we are a huge company, but I think we're still flexible in a lot of ways. If I could ask to go to the next slide, then I would like to show you our management setup or our divisional setup, because of course these assets are all managed on the investment platform. We call it investment platform, part of the investment division that you can see. It's the column on the left. And I would hope that all of my colleagues agree that this is the heart of our company, given that managing assets is our purpose as an asset manager. And both Aditi and Mikey are part of our portfolio management. So the first, I don't know if you call it bucket or circle, underneath the investment division, while I am part of the research and CIO view team within the investment division. And I may be telling you a little more about what exactly we do later. But for now, I just wanted to clarify that, we are three of those approximately 900 investment professionals that are directly or indirectly contributing to DWS's performance. But of course, there are a lot of other divisions that contribute to the success of our company. And obviously, without a proper product strategy, for example, we would not be able to respond to the trends that I just mentioned. Then without client coverage, we couldn't be selling our products. And also with the support from marketing and HR, just to name a few other areas, of course, we have a lot more, as you can see. We wouldn't have the appropriate materials and we couldn't hire the right people. So I think with these divisions, and you can only, you can see clearly 3 divisions, but we actually have 7 with the other functions and responsibilities that are listed as well. I think we have a very good setup to be able to collaborate and really collaborate across all regions because we are a global asset manager with European roots. And yeah, me sitting in the US, but I don't know if you may have heard that I have a slight German accent, so I can't get rid of it despite my 8 years of being in the US. But I can truly feel we are global. We're leveraging our roots, but we are also taking into account what other regions needs, and being here, but also having been in Germany before, I think I know what I'm talking about, and it's in my view, it's a really good setup. Yeah, and that brings me to our philosophy and values on the next slides. Actually, just one slide. So I think what is really important to us is that we deliver value for our clients, and that we can only do when we really focus on what our clients need. It's not an easy task, of course, but we keep searching for innovative solutions as markets are changing, and as client needs are also changing materially. And of course, you will know best. You have, I assume you have different needs or different investment needs than your parents may have had, or your grandparents may have had, or have right now. So it's important that we continue to innovate to keep delivering the right products to our clients. And then one thing that I'm particularly proud of, and I've already mentioned it before, is the truly global setup that we have. We do have regional differences, and those need to be taken into account, for example, when it comes to regulation. But we still are shaping our views on markets by involving our experts across the globe. And we have regular meetings that really do involve all of our experts from the different regions, and so that we can not only read about these developments in the newspaper, but we have experts on the ground who can share their views. And I think that's something that is really fascinating. And it also enables, of course, because we have all these different investment centers, it also enables people to, move between continents, like I did, for example. Then when it comes to proprietary fundamental research, all of our investment decisions are based on proprietary research. That's not always the case for asset managers, but we have the luxury of having this huge investment platform where we really have specific experts looking at the various sectors, at the various regions, but also specifically at securities, and who build up their own knowledge, and we don't just have to rely on brokers to provide us with that information. And and these experts are, of course, sharing these views with the portfolio managers, who are then taking the decisions to invest in certain securities and not in others. And then last but not least, we believe in consistent processes with accountability at every step. And this, of course, this sounds like a very general sentence, but I can attest to that this is something that we truly value, and we're making sure. So, for example, when it comes to performance, our portfolio managers are responsible for taking their own investment decisions, but they are regularly being challenged in performance review meetings, where not only their performance is being considered, but also the risk that they are taking to achieve this performance. So we, of course, have all of the functions that are necessary, risk management and compliance and so on, to ensure that we are delivering as high performance as we can, but also with the taking only the appropriate risks, and not just focusing on short-term gains while ignoring the risks that come with this. No, so that would be a brief overview from my side of our investment division and philosophy. And with that, I'd hand it back to Caroline.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Sonia. We have actually just had one question come in. So before I maybe move to the next part, if I can say, Angus has asked, does DWS have an interest in growing a particular asset class? And where do you think the growth in assets under management will occur?
Yes, so we do have an interest in growing, in particular, passive and alternatives. The active business, as you saw on the slide, it's a 60%. So it's a huge part of our business, and it's also, of course, a huge part of our revenue. But trends are going into direction of having more passive product. More people are interested in investing in passive versus in active, and so that's one of the areas that we definitely want to grow and are putting a lot of resources in to grow. And then alternatives is another area where we see a lot of opportunities, such as I mentioned, the private credit, because of changes in the great financial crisis, but also with the new hiking cycle, or potential hiking cycle that we expect to start, at least, and with interest rates having risen. Sorry. So the hiking cycle has stopped. We expect it to at some point expect the Fed, for example, to be decreasing interest rates again. But with this cycle and with interest rates having risen so much, banks have changed their lending attitudes and have left this gap open for us to seize new opportunities in private credit, to be potentially providing these credit opportunities to investors. And yeah, that's one of the areas that we think is definitely going to grow a lot, and we want to take advantage of that, and we are putting investments into them as well.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Sonia. I think now we will move towards maybe introducing the rest of our team. So I'm going to turn to my colleagues in a moment and ask you each to introduce yourselves with a short introduction about what your journey to DWS was, how you came to join and where you're working, or what your career path has been while you've been there. And then I will open the floor to more questions. So Mikey, if I can maybe come to you first, please. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Hi, I'm Mikey. So I joined DWS in 2021 as part of the graduate program, but my path to DWS was a little different than those who typically join through the graduate program. So in my year, almost everyone in my grad class had previously interned at DWS the summer before, but I actually didn't. So I had interned somewhere else the summer before my senior year, but ended up seeing a job opening for the graduate program and applied, and here I am now. So currently I'm working as a portfolio analyst on the fixed income solutions portfolio management team, like Sonia had outlined earlier. So as opposed to other teams on the fixed income platform that focus on one area of the fixed income, specifically like investment grade credit, structured finance, high yield, etc., my team essentially is just a multi-sector fixed income portfolio management team. So day to day, I primarily just help manage our clients' portfolios, whether that's investing cash, raising cash, doing gain or loss programs, running reports, etc. I'm really just doing whatever our client needs us to do. But I've had a really good time here so far, so excited to see so many people wanting to apply as well. Aditi, I don't know if you want to go next.
Yeah, thanks, Mikey. So, hi, everybody. My name is Aditi, and like Mikey has outlined as well, there's a pipeline which is seen historically where we have done internships and then we've come back. So that's what I did. I interned at DWS in the summer of 2021, and then I came back full time to join the graduate program in the summer of 2022 after graduating from Boston University. And I know the program has changed in terms of structure and the number of rotations and the duration, which I think is great. And so we also did rotations. And through that, now I'm currently, as Sonia outlined earlier, sit with the real estate portfolio management group. And I work as the portfolio and asset management analyst. I think what is especially interesting about this role is that we do a bit of both. We do portfolio as well as asset management. And the group that I sit with work on various asset types within real estate. So that could mean commercial as well as residential assets. So every portfolio and asset management analyst alongside me, we all work on various types of assets or basically you could call them properties. And they all fall under one fund, which has about 340 clients, which could range from institutional investors to pensions to endowments to religious communities. It could vary depending on the fund and the separate account and their investment strategies. Also, we work very closely with the acquisitions group within the real estate division and research group within the real estate division, who then help outline the investment strategy of the fund. So our day-to-day activities involve more around valuations, budgets, any lease renewals that are happening at the property, any capital expenses that are happening. So just making sure it's running smoothly, but also making sure that we do valuations from a portfolio level. Happy to jump into anything specific, but that's a bit of a brief overview of what I do here at DWS.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Aditi. Sonia, do you want to give a little bit more of an intro to yourself as well?
Yeah, sure. And please, Caroline, stop me if because I of course, I don't know, of course, but I assume that everybody can tell that I'm a bit older than Mikey and Aditi. So I've actually, as I mentioned before as well, I've been with the company for 12 years now. I also started as an intern. In Germany, however, and in Germany, we do have some internship programs, but we also have internships, the whole year through. Back when I studied, it was also not as strict with regards to studying, so I could just skip a semester and then, continue at some other point in time, which I took advantage of multiple times. But in any case, so I did an internship program, and then I was offered, I looked at the opportunities and was offered a spot in our graduate program in Germany. And back then it was 12 months. I know that in the US, the program before was only 6 months. So I'm very happy to see that the program has been redesigned to a longer period, because I really think it makes a big difference to be able to have like different rotations for a longer period of time, because unless you are in an area for a little longer, it's very difficult to really add value to the team if you're just there for a few weeks. So I think it's a very good development. So I enjoyed my rotations in various teams, but then I started working in the CIO office, which I guess I should probably explain briefly. So it's the Chief Investment Office, and we're part of the investment platform. And what we do is we manufacture our company's view on markets and the economy. So we will, as I mentioned before, we will bring together all of the relevant experts from across the globe, have them discuss their different asset classes, and then we put together a hopefully consistent view on these asset classes, as well as the macro story, and publish that in various publications, presentations, and of course internally as well, to make sure that everybody in the company knows exactly what we're thinking. And so again, I started in Germany, but at some point we noticed that the collaboration with the US colleagues was quite difficult because of the time zone changes and the very short amount of time that you had at the same during the working hours, and also back then we remember we didn't have these opportunities of having video calls all the time, and thereby getting to know each other in person as easily. And so I suggested to my boss that it would make sense to have a kind of a little branch of the CIO office in the US, and of course have me lead it. And so he actually agreed to do that, and then I moved over at the end of 2015 to build up the CIO office here. And because I was when the CIO office was founded, that was actually the time that I also had joined in 2013 in Germany, and so I had already built up all of the processes that are necessary, all of the documentation and the network drives and whatever you need to kind of build a new team and build up what is needed for it to function. And so I did the same in the US. And while I was doing that, of course, moved up the ladder, or I don't know if that's I guess you can say it's natural, but it worked out for me. So I always had bosses who were supportive and who saw, I guess, the potential in me to take on more tasks and to take on more responsibilities. We always had interns in the team, for example, that I took over management of as well. And then when we were able to expand the team because we had new responsibilities, more responsibilities, I was able to also manage some of the colleagues. And so now fast forward 8 years after I started in the US, I'm now a senior research analyst and a team lead of the team, and still even though I've been in this team for 12 years, I still am facing new challenges every day. Also because of the setup that we have, that we don't just manufacture our view within the team, but we really work very closely with all of the portfolio managers to get their input.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Sonia. That sounds like a really exciting career path, and I think it's really nice to be able to show actually the opportunities and the growth and how things have developed between the different countries. So thank you. I'm just going to open the floor now to our guests to see if there are any questions. You have 3 people with very unique and differing experiences here, so I'd encourage you to take advantage. Any questions, either DWS specific, career specific, or even any application ones, I'm happy to take as well. I think we'll maybe start with one question around, I suppose, how you have prioritised professional development and continuous learning in your careers. Maybe I can put this one through to Sonia.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a good question.
I suppose if we're thinking about prioritising it across your, balancing your day-to-day work with still prioritising the learning and development piece.
Yes, exactly. So what I can say, one of the areas that I made it kind of easy for me was that DWS has had continuous development programs throughout my career. So whenever there was, I was actually promoted into a new corporate title back when we still had corporate titles. They actually had these programs that went along with it that were doing workshops and really focusing on acquiring new skills. For example, when I moved into a manager position, so I was actually responsible for managing people. I got a training to do that, like a 3-day program, and with lots of resources available as well. But yeah, I agree. It's actually, it is quite a challenge in general to prioritize it. But I think DWS has always made it easy for me because I've always been curious to learn about new things, and they always made it very easy to take that time that I needed between my daily responsibilities. I also, but I didn't even mention this, but I also did do the CFA charter. So I took those exams in the beginning, like before I even went to the US. So, and that was also supported by DWS. So I guess that's another point. And then the last point I would mention is that we've actually within the investment division, we obviously, I mean, very nice to see that we have, a lot of women on this, or that we have female leaders here, but there are also the percentage of women isn't as high as we would like it to be, and therefore they have installed a what we call a female talent initiative program to first bring together female leaders within the investment division, but then also continue to develop them. And I'm part of this program, very happy to be part. It's been a phenomenal experience with 3 in-person meetings throughout the year. And really great opportunity to build a network, but also to get access to a lot of our senior leaders. And yeah, so there's a lot of things that DWS is doing in that area to help employees develop.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. We've had a couple of other questions in, and I think I might just take the latest one because I think it links to development, and if we're talking about the programme. So Jessica's asking, after your rotations on the graduate scheme, do you get to choose which path you would like to continue in, or does it depend on where you're needed? And I wonder if I can maybe throw this open to either maybe Mikey or Aditi.
Yeah, I can go first, and I guess Mikey, you can take over. I think that's a good question. We are definitely the ones who are expressing our interest in, driving the car, basically. And I think and I'll add one more thing. So that answers the question. But I think what is also important to understand is that there are so many mentors across each rotation that I think it's extremely important to have those conversations throughout the process. So for me, it was 6 months, as Sonia mentioned about the previous recruitment. For you, it would be 24 months. So that gives more opportunities for you to have those conversations with your mentors, to express interest and request for opportunities which would help you realize where you want to go. And then, of course, if you know where you want to go post the rotations, and you appreciate the rotation, you appreciate the work, then I don't see why that wouldn't be matched. And I think it's basically your choices are definitely a big decision factor there.
Maybe I can add just a sentence to that. In the overall structure of the program, then I absolutely agree with Aditi. I think the preference of the grads is really, really important. We will definitely also working closely with the business and actually also on the positions needed in the business. For example, as Sonia has just mentioned, the growth areas of the firm, for example, private credit, the alternatives business is definitely something where we will also looking for intakes on the grad side as well. So yes, we will definitely take your preferences. We will discuss all the rotations together with you as the candidates, but also with the business needs, and hopefully have the final match in the end of the program. But yes, as always, the firm needs to have the people in the teams, and we definitely try to match you according to your preferences and the work needed.
Okay, thank you, Leonie. If I can maybe skip through to one of our other questions, I'm going to come to just take a slight sort of change of tack and come back to Gareth, who is asking, what is your approach when working with the client coverage team in DWS, and do you make sure that the communication is made clear to present DWS capabilities to external clients? Does anybody in particular want to take that?
Yeah, I can try to take it. I hope I can answer it from the right angle. So when we work with the client coverage team, for our CIO view, how we call it, so that DWS's outlook on the economy and markets, we have a very, very close working relationship with them, because in the end, we produce this outlook to be helpful to the client coverage team, to then also market our products eventually to clients. So we hope that our thought leadership that we produce will be helpful to get a foot into the door of clients, and then and have those discussions about markets and the trends that we see, and then client coverage can mention, and by the way, on this trend we also have a product. So yes, I think we are trying to make it very clear to them, or to have a very close dialogue with them, and that's also why we have multiple meetings, also in cooperation with marketing and communications, to discuss the content needs of our sales colleagues, and ultimately of the clients, and to make sure that those needs are not only addressed with regards to the themes, but also with regards to the audience, that so that they fit to the audience. I hope this answers the question. If not, feel free to add a more specific question.
Thank you very much. Yes, Gareth, if there's any other angle to these questions, please do keep posting in the channel and I will pass these across. I suppose moving a little bit back towards how you can succeed the best in your roles, we have a question from Angus asking, what qualities do you see in colleagues that are key to succeeding in their particular role? I'm wondering if maybe, Mikey, I can throw this one out to you.
Yeah, sure. I think immediately off the bat, there's two main things that I'm thinking of. One, really just the ability to take initiative. I think when you are going through your rotations, or specifically within your role, you do have people to support you. But I think there's definitely going to be times where you're not necessarily going to have specific tasks to do. And so during those times, I think it's really important to be able to take the initiative to reach out to other people. And I think something that's really great about the graduate program is that people are really open to talking to new joiners, new analysts. And so while you're part of the program, whether that's reaching out to people within your team to talk to, or people outside of your team, I think it's really important to try to make new connections, especially if you're not necessarily rotating with a team that you want to join. You can always reach out to people outside of that team to talk to, and they'll try to make time for you. I think the second thing that comes to mind is just being curious. There's a lot to learn, and what I've learned is that you learn a lot through experience. And so it's hard when I've only been working at the company for like 2.5 years and there's so much going on. I've learned that people really like it when you ask questions, and I think that that's really the best way to go through it, because someone might be explaining to you how to do something, but I think that when they explain stuff, like there's just a bunch of different questions that pop up in your head. And also when a lot of people on my team specifically have been working at DWS for so long. And so to them, a lot of the processes, a lot of how like the market moves kind of just comes naturally through experience because they've been here for so long, that when they explain things, it's at, I don't know, they explain it at a level that's like a little too high to understand. And so definitely ask questions. I think that's super important. I don't know if anyone has anything to add to that.
I think that's fair. I would have thought one aspect is persistence as well. I think that's, but I think taking initiative kind of is similar to persistence in a way, because you have a goal and you try to reach it by taking the initiative, by being persistent in checking in, talking to people, and really pursuing that goal. I've noticed when I was in the graduate program, I actually, and I told you that my team hadn't been formed when I joined the graduate program, but it was only formed during that time. And so I initially didn't really know what the opportunities for me were, but I was from my previous experience in the internship, I was confident that I would like throughout the trainee program I would be able to find the opportunities and find a role that would fit to me. And I was also confident that DWS would have a good interest in helping me achieve that. And I think sometimes you also need a bit of trust in the organization, even though that's tricky. And I think and I guess in my generation, it may be a little more likely to have that trust versus in the younger generation. I think I feel like the younger generation oftentimes is maybe a little less patient, which I'm not blaming. I think it's good for a lot of things. But I think especially an asset manager, and we are a big asset manager. I told you, I think we are flexible, but for asset management in particular, for that, not the company's corporate strategy itself, but what we do, our purpose is creating long-term value for our clients, having long-term relationships with our clients. And so that also means that we want to have, and Mikey mentioned that a lot of her colleagues are have been with the company for a long time. So you do need a little bit of patience to work yourself up the ladder, to really get deep into understanding the processes, but also the markets. And that's something that is extremely difficult to understand. I think I don't know if you can ever really understand markets, but it definitely takes a lot of time to at least get into that direction. And I think that's something that is probably one of the qualities that people also need to bring is a bit of patience and and a willingness to dive deep into the and getting the expertise, dive deep into the topics.
Lovely. Thank you very much, both of you. I appreciate that. We do have one other question that's come in. So I'm just going to make sure that we can include this one from Alina, who is asking what some of the challenges are that graduates or interns have encountered during the programme, and how do you overcome them? So I suppose those could be from any different angle. I'll throw that open to the three of you, if there's anything in particular.
I can go, maybe. That's a very good question and makes me think a bit about it. But I think it ties back into the previous answer and previous question that we were just discussing about patience and resilience, and also just, personally for me, I got into real estate with no previous real estate background, as an example. So and it's been a year now that I've been on the team, and I went from not knowing anything to not knowing a lot. So I do know now something, but of course there's, as Sonia and Mikey already mentioned, there's so much to learn, and you'll always keep learning. So I think one of the instances that at least I personally faced was that even though no one was expecting me to know everything, I think it's just that self pressure that a lot of people end up placing on themselves about, oh, I'm new to this company and I'm new to this role and I want to really succeed. And of course, you should want to, and I'm sure you will. But I think it's important to take a step back and breathe and speak to people and ask them questions. So I think that's definitely something, if not considered, can be tricky to navigate. And so that like I said, that ties back to what we were discussing a minute back. And I guess the other thing, of course, is we were talking about the matching process of interest versus needs. And I think though DWS does a really good job and has done a really good job historically matching the grads' wishes to the needs, I think again, it comes back to the same thing. As long as we're expressive about what we want, from the beginning, and just, having everybody telling that to everybody and being transparent is important, because if the transparency is not there, nobody's going to know what you want. And then the matching process just gets trickier. So it's just better, in my opinion, to have that conversations out in the open with the recruiting managers and hiring managers, so that they can help you navigate the process. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Aditi. Thank you. I know we're coming up to the hour, but we have one more question. I'm hoping we can squeeze this one in, and I'm going to put this to all of you, actually, just for a little bit of a short, putting you all on the spot. So when you were first interviewing for a role at DWS, why do you think you were given the role? Who wants to go first? I suppose over any other candidates. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't specifically want to say that I did this better than other people because I'm not quite sure, but I think just being able to express yourself well and express your experiences. Aditi mentioned this earlier, but they're not really expecting you to know a ton going into it. But for me, I had previous internship experience, and I think being able to speak to that and what I learned and what I'm excited to learn about was really important, because I think a lot of people that apply to the internship or to the graduate program are very smart and capable, but just being able to articulate that well, I think was a key factor for that.
Thank you.
For me, I think I was extremely intrigued by the fact that it was a rotational program. Like the other of course, we all are applying, to multiple internships at that point, and a lot of those were specific teams. And I studied economics and mathematics in college, so I did not have finance background, and I really just wanted to experience the finance industry. So I think personally for me, I expressed that, and I assume that was appreciated, as considering that it was a rotational program. So again, it's something that personally resonated with me. So if that resonates with you, I would definitely encourage to bring that forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, so for me, this is a really tricky question because it's so long ago. I'm like, whoa. But I think I was probably given the role because I was curious and I really wanted to learn. In Germany, it's a little different. I think you are kind of expected to know quite a bit about financial markets and business administration in general. And I did I think I demonstrated that I did know quite a bit of that as well. I did a different model, of course, in Germany versus in the US. But I think I think that applies to the US as well, that I think showing that you have a passion for learning, but I guess also somehow a passion for financial markets if you want to be in investments. That definitely helps. You may not have to know everything about it, but if you don't even read the newspaper and you know what is going on in the world, then you may not be right for this job, because you do need, I think, you know, of course, everybody expects some kind of work-life balance, and that's clear, but you do need to put in efforts, and you do need to have some general personal interest in the topic as well. Because I think that's also something that I can say about our investment platform. Everybody is really passionate about what they're doing, about the subject that they're working on. And I think that's also the only way that you can get really good at something. And yeah, I think that's important that you portray that.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much to all of our speakers. I think that's probably a good point to end on as we're coming up to the hour here. And I would use that last question to also underline exactly the point about demonstrating your passion and your enthusiasm and curiosity. And if I think to, you know, at the end of an assessment centre or a super day of when we're evaluating how people have done, there's a lot of thought that goes into those decisions, right? And to the feedback that comes out of it. And it's all very much around being impressed by candidates who can demonstrate that, who have got the specific, they can tie in their own experiences to why DWS, even understanding that you might be applying to more than one firm, and being able to demonstrate, if you've got an analytical exercise like we do, being able to demonstrate your thought process in something and be able to handle being questioned on that and what your decisions are. If you're curious enough about the subject matter, then that will help when you're coming through and having to formulate your decisions through the final round. Thank you very much for everyone. We've really appreciated everyone joining, and thank you to Sonia, Mikey and Aditi for giving your time and talking to us about your experiences throughout, and to everyone who's joined today, and also to Leonie, I beg your pardon. Thank you very much for joining, and thank you to everyone who has joined from making time from your classes and your studies. We hope you found it informative, and would encourage you to please do go and visit our website, and hopefully we've sparked interest enough that you are keen to find out more about the programmes and hopefully make an application, and we hope to meet some of you soon. Many thanks.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.